Hey there, and welcome to the latest episode of Flex That Worx, powered by Baseworx. We're delighted to have you here today. So, Flex That Worx is a show for co-working and flex space operators. We want to make your life easier. We want to share insights that we see every day as providers of a space management software. So we're constantly chatting with space managers and operators. And today we are going to talk about where you find your clients. Okay, so spaces of all different sizes speak to us all the time about it being the number one challenge where operators can find new growth. And we're looking already, I think, at 2026 and beyond. So what does it look like in the new year to find customers? And one thing we're going to chat today in the episode, which will be a brief one, is how about looking beyond the usual suspects? So I'm joined by Baseworx CEO Graham Clarke. How are you doing, Graham?
Good. No, looking forward to chatting about this now.
Good stuff. Brilliant. So to jump straight into it, Graham and I were kind of having a chat about what we thought would add value to our listeners. And we were, really touching on the idea that there oftentimes is this whole group of people who does not know, that co-working exists. Okay. And that we are all effectively potentially fighting for the same clients as it stands. And what about this whole other group out there who kind of don't know what they don't know, if you will, and who actually is that group, who's within it. So everyone's maybe fighting over the same clients. Who do you think is overlooked, Graham? Where do you see opportunities for growth that maybe operators haven't quite kind of tapped up yet as an audience?
To be honest, one of the ones that kind of came to mind for me recently was we have a major issue here with housing in Ireland. I think it's pan-European, I think the States it's similar, but at the moment students are screaming out for housing in Ireland. And I think post-pandemic, I think third level education has probably shifted as well, and the need to be close to the university, just like the need to be close to HQ as a worker, may not be there as much anymore. I mean, when I was in university, we had Blackboard, and that was high tech, right? And most of my class didn't even have laptops. Now, getting a laptop is kind of, you turn up your first day with one. So I'm just thinking, with all of that being said, maybe university students local to you could be a potential.
I love that idea. So if somebody was looking to get university students in, what do you think that user group would need to see, and what would an operator need to do to attract that audience in?
Firstly, you're probably going to be looking at student discounts of some shape or form.
That's fine. That's doable. I wonder would you even get support on that, Graham? I wonder would local enterprise board or some sort of a student
universities card, even universities, maybe team up with your local university. And again, one of the things here, and I'm probably, there's probably operators out there going, students, absolutely no way, because they're thinking of rag week and freshers week and these kind of students. Look, they're not going to be coming in like spraying your gaff with washing up liquid. They'll generally come in ones and twos, and they're probably
also going to be the studious ones, right? If they're actually seeking out a place to work.
They're probably this is going to be a substitute for their library, or a substitute for their box room that they might have at home. So they're probably going to be the ones looking up above up from the laptop and saying, "Anne-Marie, can you keep it down?" But I do think, students, they're adults, they're grown-ups, and they're going to not all of them, but a lot of them will end up working in an environment similar to a co-working space or an office space, and it's not bad practice for them to kind of see what's going. And again, who's like, you got, and we could talk about this time and time again, God, you do not know who you're going to meet in a co-working space at any given stage. You can meet future employers, get a feel for a career. This guy comes in, this girl comes in, they have a great job, I'd like to learn more about that, and the accessibility that you get to people in co-working spaces. So that was one that kind of dawned on me. And then the other side of it is, we're seeing a lot here in Ireland as well, digs. So digs in Ireland are where you go and actually live with somebody from Monday to Friday, and you're send out the door on a Friday, you get the bus down home to whatever part of the country you're from. So with that being said, they don't get to hang around they don't have the same university experience that they would have had anyway. That, unfortunately, that seems to kind of have shifted on kids. So again, I just thinking maybe the co-working aspect of it can come into play, because what we're starting to see now is that a lot of landlords now want the house back in March because they want to Airbnb it for the whole summer. So this, what we found, what I heard the problem this year was the final year students, their house was gone in May when they're trying to study and trying to get their exams in place. So they're
Wild.
up and down with, so, you know, which isn't, so, you know, they're at home.
So there's
then,
loads of needs. So there's loads of needs. Yeah. And you know what? Who's one of the biggest groups in university at the moment? Mature students, people who've returned and have worked in industry in the past, you know, and they're actually totally au fait with the experience of going into a workplace. So it might suit them even better, you know what I mean, to have a space where they can be self-led in their work. They'll definitely make use of being around other people who are working for themselves and all that good stuff with other brands and all of that. So yeah, I think it's a very powerful group to tap into. I'm also thinking about what that could lend to a space in terms of events and things then as well, you know, if you're to bring that academic aspect, can you get some support going with like professors and research and use of space? Maybe there's some resources that the college would be happy to share with your co-working space off the back of you accommodating a certain amount of students maybe in the month or something like that. You know, there's great potential there. I think it's a good spot.
This was just again, I was just listening to the radio and picking up on what's kind of coming through on the news here at home, and I'd love to know why this is a bad idea. If somebody wants to like send us emails, comments, whatever, I would love to know why this is a bad idea.
Yeah, bad feedback, please send it to us. Super. Yeah, brilliant. So the group that I was thinking about was the kind of like 23 to like 25, 27-year-olds, right? So I've heard from multiple people now, you know, that their kids have got work or their brothers and sisters have got work and it's their first job. And we all had that first job. You know, some of us had that first job in the city. It was about the drinks after work or the sports together after work or the training beforehand or whatever, you know, your hobby is. And they're really missing that social outlet. They don't feel like they're part of a team because they probably took work that maybe is remote and actually isn't a physical office for them to go into at all, and they really feel a bit disenfranchised and they're not getting to lock in that experience of a workplace in the first place. Like some of them actually finished their uni exams in their bedrooms and then went straight into their first jobs in their bedrooms. So it really struck me when I've been speaking to people in that group, and I've also been chatting to like their relatives or their peers, co-working's not on their radar at all. And it makes me wonder about where we're marketing spaces and whether they feel like it's a place that they'd be welcome in if they went in, you know. So them as a group is an audience who I think would benefit so much. And like imagine the energy and vibrancy that age group can bring into a co-working space as well, right? They'll get you on TikTok for sure.
No, but like, yeah, no, on that point, I think you're spot on. I mean, we see it ourselves here. Like we hire graduates, and you know, there's a contradiction in that. Like generally, when you're a more senior person in the business, you're more likely to be able to work from home or have that flexibility. The thing is, when you start bringing graduates into the mix, I personally believe you need to have your senior people beside them to give them that, as you said, give them that first job experience. I mean, I remember going on co-op, which it would be, you know, an internship in you know, and I remember going into career guidance like class, and they were like, "This is email etiquette. Do not type in caps. GR8 is not like accepted." Obviously, I'm talking back way back, but this type of etiquette that you can only learn when you're out in the workforce, you know.
That's gone though, Graham. Like there's loads of them that don't go into offices because the offices aren't physically there. So like Baseworx is actually pretty unique because our senior people are in shared spaces. So like the guys who start work with us are actually coming into co-working spaces because Baseworx are bringing them in, right? But like for the kids who like actually don't have access to an office, or, you know, mature student who's just going back out and joining the workforce and has taken a remote position, I think definitely, you know, there's so much value for them to get in a co-working space, and it's potentially just the case they don't know you're there, you know, as an operator.
When I think back to my first job straight out of college, like the crack was like meeting.
I can't imagine it. I can't imagine not having had an office to go to.
Yeah, it's wild. And I think, you know, like we talk about like the novelty of working from home and remote work has definitely worn off, but how awful if that's your first experience into the workplace is like.
Well, what I'll say for them as well is that like as a generation of kids, they're also, well, look, they're young people. I shouldn't be calling them kids. That like shows my age. But like the fact that I think a lot of them are really self-led as well and entrepreneurial, and they like, I think that they are full of ideas. Most of them are creators. Most of them have tech in their hands since they're much younger than when we would have got it. But they do need still that to latch into a bit of a system or a process that kind of allows them to flourish. You know what I mean? They still need the bit of guidance, the bit of company, simple as company. You know what I mean? So that's them as a group. Okay. Anything to add on them?
No, I just like, I think, the kind of things I'm picking up with the Gen Zs and Gen whatever comes after it is that like, they're all very experience led, and they don't want to give up their time unless they feel, you know, they come in higher up in the Maslow's hierarchy, you know, by design. And you know, one thing I learned when I left college is I came out of college thinking I knew everything, and I spent every year since realizing how little I actually know. So I think, in fairness, they're coming into the world with this expectation of the world, and now they have complementary things like AI to help them out, and so, you know, the right graduate or the right minded person, young person added to your team, they know about a raft of tools where they can come very, very informed, and like, you know yourself, there's not this kind of, look at them straight out of college naive, they think they know everything. No, they actually can. And they can come and educate you, you know?
And I think as well so if you're an operator looking to attract this group of people as well, and you decide it's an audience that you would like to bring into your space, I do think that they will be looking for an experience that's a little bit probably, I don't think they'll put up with, shall we say, as much as, you know, other people may, other age groups may. I think they do have a high expectation around experience. And, you know, maybe, you know, we talked earlier about fancy water filtration and availability of all these perks. Basically, if you're in a city and you've got like an established brand and a great level of hospitality, and these people are going into like well-paying roles, I think you'd probably clean up. And equally, I think to Graham's point, it is all experience. So like equally, you're going to have like this huge volume of nomads, right? So in this age group, people working for themselves, you know, content creation and influencing is now a viable job, you know, that we have multimillionaires going around and that's their role. So like it's very beneficial to get those people into your space if it's something that you'd like to do in order to grow it. But I think you just need to walk around with their sunglasses on for a minute and just imagine how they would see your space and consider little ways that you could maybe tweak the experience for them. And definitely seamless booking online experience whereby they can see what the space looks like and kind of get an element of see, feel, touch before they come in the door probably would put your space above others if you have competition in the area. So it's something to consider before they come in.
The one thing about appealing to people in that, you know, step in their career is they're going to be super cost conscious, so they may not actually be the customer at the end of the day. You may need to actually go to their higher ups, the people that are paying the salaries. And again, look, I'm already sold on the idea of having people in co-working spaces. It's easy for me because I like our people to live the problem, and I love our people to kind of see what the real world effects that they're having when they're solving things for operators. But, you know, as an employer, hiring a graduate, straight out of college, it might take a little bit more of a sell. And that comes back to the point I'm making earlier, like co-working isn't as mainstream as people seem to think it is. And
that's a good point there, Graham, whereby within, you know, age group is only one element, like anything when you're segmenting and looking at clients. So like the type of work they're doing, their mindset, you know, yourself co-working, some people aren't aware of it and some people aren't a fit for it. So like you do need to be able to go in and self-led and a viable member of the community and all that good stuff and a good fit and able to choose a brand that suits you. Don't choose a co-working brand where people chit chat all day and they're sitting elbow to elbow on a shared table. If you want to be, in a different kind of brand where nobody looks at each other. I've walked through co-working spaces that have both. So if people are a fit for co-working and they are fitting in that age group, still you probably have to have a little bit of a segmentation exercise to think about who within that group you're looking to attract. And for sure, if they have employers and they're part of bigger brands, then who really is the decision maker in that conversation?
For sure.
I have a third group to add before we finish up, and that is the group of people. We've touched on it a few times, but just to really give it some airtime, the group of people who don't know that co-working exists. They might look the exact same as a lot of your current members, and they might simply be walking past your door every day, and maybe your space is upstairs and they actually don't know it's there. If your space might not even say co-working in the title and they don't know it's co-working, or maybe it does say co-working or flex and they don't know what that means, or they've never thought to get involved. And maybe it's a matter of going back to the drawing board and thinking about all the ways that you found your current members and where they came from. Can you run a word of mouth campaign? Can you literally go a few degrees of separation wider and open up the audience a little bit more into people actually who are going to be like the community you already have? So it's not this great big step away in terms of people coming in. I really think, just to reiterate, we've said it more than once on this episode, but there are so many people out there who just don't know that co-working exists or that it might be for them. And then you have people who do know it's for them and they're a little bit hesitant to try it because they don't know anyone who's tried it already. So it's always worth thinking about, can it be events where you reach them? Can it be some online advertising on different types of groups locally that will get them in the door? Is it people traveling? Just have a think about where that person spends their time. And if co-working hasn't crossed their path yet, what is crossing their path? What pages are they on? Who are they talking to? And how can you get involved and just bring them in on the journey?
And another thing we don't say enough is get out of your co-working space. Get out, get networking yourself, go to conferences, go to events yourself, get out of the space.
Get up on stages, get speaking slots. Like it's very interesting to people when somebody has gone out there and actually started a co-working space. I've yet to be bored by a conversation with an operator. Everyone is different. I always say it, nobody went to university to study co-working. So like typically everybody has come from a cool background and something has led you here. So don't underestimate the story or the journey that you've been on. Take the opportunity to promote your space, tell your own personal story about why you started, what it is you're doing, and you will continue to find new faces to grow the membership in your space, I've no doubt. Brilliant. So we hope this episode has been valuable to you. Some little ideas and takeaways there to think about where you can potentially find your next group of members for 2026 and beyond. Love to hear any thoughts that you have, any practical ways that you've grown your membership that you think would support other operators. As always, you can catch our episodes wherever you get your podcasts. We're also active on YouTube, so you can watch the episodes there. And we love to have the chats on LinkedIn. So feel free to get in touch with me, Anne-Marie Murphy or Graham Clarke. And always, we can't wait to join you on the next episode. Thanks a mil for listening in. Goodbye.
Thanks for tuning in to Flex That Worx. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to follow or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss our next episode. Connect with us on LinkedIn, watch the full episode on YouTube, and you can explore free tools and resources over at baseworx.co. This is Flex That Worx, powered by Baseworx, here to help you scale your workspace, making it simpler and less stressful.